Hi everyone, and welcome to this Cambridge secondary video on classroom management. I'm Laura, and in this video we're going to cover some simple tips for managing your teenage classroom. Teachers often talk about teenagers being a particularly difficult age to teach. They're going through a lot of changes, both in themselves and in their social lives, so it's understandable that they don't always come to class ready to learn. It's up to us as teachers to facilitate a positive learning environment, being clear about what we expect from our students, but also thinking carefully about our own behaviour as teachers. This will help get the most out of our teenage students. So here are a few simple things to think about that could make huge changes in your classroom. Tip 1. Learn your students' names. Learning students' names can be difficult, especially when you've got large classes. But it's vital for managing classroom dynamics and will help students feel noticed as individuals. There are lots of techniques for learning names, from word association to name cards, so why not have a look online? Tip 2. Think about your presence. One habit that's common to new teachers is that they don't use the classroom space effectively. They tend to stick to the safe zone, that is, the area at the front of the classroom. Or worse, they create a barrier between themselves and their students by sitting behind the desk. This really limits the teacher's presence and means that students at the back of the room can easily feel neglected, struggle to hear, or have the opportunity to misbehave. So start thinking about how you use the space and experiment with movement. What happens if you stand at the back of the room while you're monitoring an activity? Or how do students react if you stand up while giving instructions? Once you start using the space effectively, you'll be surprised at how it changes the dynamics of a class. Tip 3. Stop and wait. To bring students' attention back to you after they've been doing an activity, don't shout over them or you'll quickly lose your voice. Stand at the front, make eye contact with the students one by one. Let them signal to each other to be quiet so you don't have to. If you start speaking quietly, they'll get quieter too so they can hear you. Alternatively, call for their attention, stop and wait, then give your instructions. Or try non-verbal cues, turn the lights on and off, tapping on the board, or putting up a countdown timer will also save your voice. Tip 4. Reinforce positive behaviour. Rather than just telling the naughty students off, focus on the good students instead. Give praise for students who are ready and listening, or who have worked well together. This reinforces positive behaviour and gives your attention to the students who deserve it, signalling to the others what's expected of them. Tip 5. Beware of teacher talking time. Most teachers will be aware of teacher talking time. How long do you spend talking in each of your lessons? I bet it's more than you think. In some situations, teacher talking can be useful if it has a purpose, for example, listening comprehension. But it's less useful when you're simply taking too long to give instructions or explain something. While you're talking, the students can't, which greatly reduces their opportunities to practice using the language. And if you've ever sat through someone talking for a long time, you'll know how easy it is to stop listening and start thinking about something else. So think about when you do most of your talking. Is it when you're presenting grammar or giving instructions? So why not pre-plan your instructions and write them down on your lesson plan? This will help you reduce unnecessary talk. You can make use of visual cues like pictures or props to help reinforce what you're saying. And make sure you check student understanding by asking questions about what you've just said. Don't be afraid to talk, as long as it's got a purpose. Tip 6. Be clear about your expectations. Be clear about what you expect from your students from the first day of class. You could even create a class contract with them. Ask them what they expect from themselves and each other. Write it down and put it up on the wall. Be fair and consistent about how you deal with any rule breakers. You'll only lose your students' trust if you aren't. Tip 7. Build rapport with your students. One of the best ways of facilitating a positive learning environment is to build rapport with your students. Allow time in class for talking to them and getting to know them as people. Ask about their weekend plans, or find out what their hobbies are. Let students know you're interested in their lives beyond the classroom by asking about people or events they've mentioned previously. If your students feel noticed and appreciated as individuals, they're far more likely to enjoy being part of your class and want to participate positively. That's all from me. Thanks for watching, and why not check out our other Cambridge secondary videos on the Cambridge ELT YouTube channel.